Yo, this is me, Terrell, Hall of Fame, D-Line, and wherever else. This one here, scoot back from the camera some. This one here is a lot of people have questions about how do I plan my breedings. First of all, the things that I hate are the people who post up, oh, I have a female coming in the heat soon, show me what studs you got. That's not good planning. A serious breeder will know exactly who they want to breed to, and it could be a variable. You can see something else with similar blood, similar characteristics that still fits your vision that you change to, but it's never going to be a wide array where you're picking from different styles of dogs, different bloods. That's just, you know, for the term that we always use, a backyard breeder. With my program, I pretty much know my breedings for the next 10 years. Not exactly always the dog. Some instances I know the dog. I know some breedings are going to other breedings, but it's always to get to a purpose. You know, when you're breeding, first and foremost, you should be narrowing things down to what size of dog you want and what characteristics you're looking for. So as you do your breeding plan, you should at least be ahead 3 generations. You know, for instance, and I'll just riddle off some stuff that probably won't make sense to you, but in my yard right now I just did a breeding of Mandela, which is my Bistro Denzel son, to a homie daughter. So that gives me double homie, which goes away from the Denzel blood that's sort of prevalent in my yard. Now I already have plans to take those dogs back to a Denzel bred to a Bistro daughter. Now it's still the same blood from different sides, because you have homie and Denzel, and with Mandela being Denzel grandson, but on both ends you stretch the blood away from each other, so when they come back together it won't be like you heavily compounded Bistro on one end or heavily compounded Denzel without any spacing in the genetics. So it allows for it to flow, and I can keep the light characteristics that I want, which is some things that I've seen go good with these breedings, like head structure, bone, and shorter backs, nicer paws than I've been getting before. You know, a lot of different things. Now, even knowing that those two breedings go together, the product from those breedings, I've already made a breeding to go with the products of those breedings, which I'll announce the breedings in the future. And right now I can't do it because I'm not supposed to talk about some of the frozen straws that I have. But it'll be a good breeding. So basically what I'm telling you is that 3 generations away, I know who I'll breed these puppies that their parents aren't even born yet too. When you do things that way through good planning, you know exactly what you're looking for in your breedings. It gives you a lot of time to study the characteristics or like characteristics of similar bloods and how they match, and you can chart it over the time. So if you feel like something came up that was sort of nasty in another breeding, that you can change it because of some warnings there that a lot of times we don't see. A lot of times we, and I'm going to talk about this in a different rant, but a lot of times we see 2 great looking dogs and you're like, oh, they're going to go together, they look alike, it's going to be good. But behind there are tons of dogs that have other characteristics, and some of the negative characteristics are not available to the eye. So say for instance, you have a female with a clean tail, you have a male with a clean tail, but in their genetic profile, if they both have that negative gene to possibly throw a corkscrew tail somewhere in there, you just doubled up on it, and your 2 good clean tails can produce a bunch of little piglets. And if you're not up on this and knowing how this works, you'll sit there and you'll be kicking yourself in the butt, because you're like, how in the world did this go wrong? And sometimes it's not enough there for us to see it up front, but like I say, thorough research helps a lot. And that's where going back to having your studs and your bitches locked up and planned for 3 generations, because that allows you constant and consistent time to keep on investigating how these bloods are working, so you can get to where you want to be. Because anything else without proper planning is just guesswork. That's all it is. If you can't tell me step by step why you did this breeding, what characteristics you're looking for, and then back that up with this happened when this dog was bred to that dog, and I believe heavily that this is going to this and it's going to make it better, that's it. You know, just like in these breedings, when Denzel is doubled up on, especially offspring to offspring, the bone gets bigger, the dogs get thicker. You know, Denzel the Bistro has shown the same combination. That's why the breeding that I explained to you before, I'm doubling up on those things and trying to make it happen. But anyway, I think that will be somewhat confusing, but hopefully, if nothing else that you take out of this video, besides me struggling with words and spitting all over the place, is that plan out your breeding and do a lot of studying. How many generations should you go back? I would say at the very least you want to go back 4 generations, and not just go back and look at a picture of the dog on Bullypedia. You want to get into the litter mates of these dogs. What happened when those litter mates were bred? The things that, you know, most people don't talk about because they want to show their best. You want to find out what the worst was, and if there was anything behind those dogs that was coming up that was never shown, because of course you want to breed away from it. But you need to know those things, because if you have that same trait 2 or 3 times in your breeding program, more than likely you're going to bring that ugliness to the top. But anyway, if you have any questions, hit me up, Facebook or wherever, and I'll try to answer them. If I don't have the answers, I bet you I know somebody that does. Alright, peace.